We'll do it after. I just think I'll do a switcheroo. We're live.
So, Charlie, when was the last time we were in this street? It's been a long time, hasn't it?
Mate, it's been a long time. We've got a new setup as well.
I know.
Yeah, mate, I was saying to you before, it feels like a sort of, it's like a news night interview. Like it's sort of one of them ones you do where you've done something wrong and you come on to apologise and then you're reintegrated back into society.
Like a Jamie Carragher.
Yeah, almost like a Jamie Carragher little Scott. Go on, you got to do the rounds. It feels a little bit like that. You always got to explain yourself.
Yeah, I just need to sort of put a question to you, and you
Yeah.
just lay it all on
And
the
I
table,
basically
mate.
say how much of a great character I am, and that
It was all a mistake.
yeah, exactly. And then you get welcomed back with open arms. Yeah.
Hey, well, I like the new studio. I quite like it. Different layout. We haven't got the sofas anymore. Just me and you as well today. Today we're going to be reviewing the transfer window. We're going to be talking about Chelsea's business. There's plenty of business, so we're going to try not to dwell on one player for too long, just because otherwise we're actually not going to be able to get through anything. We've got obviously incomings and outgoings as well. So we're going to talk about the sales, which Chelsea have been very, very successful. If you look at the amount of revenue and profit that we've been able to generate during this window. And then we're going to flip that over and we're going to look at the players we've brought in as well. Are they better than what we had? Did they make us better? Are we happy with them? Is it good value? All of those questions, really. So, I mean, just to start it off, Charlie, obviously we've got the international break now. So the next game's Brentford. How do you feel about Chelsea now that everything's done? Obviously, we've still got the American market and the Saudi, Turkish one as well. But generally speaking, there shouldn't be that much movement. So how are you feeling about Chelsea at the moment?
Yeah, but I think feel reasonably positive. We've had a good start to the season on the pitch, 7 points from 9. I think that's a pretty good return given the Club World Cup, the sort of lack of a pre-season. Those first 3 games I always felt were going to be about us getting up to speed, and I weren't really going to be looking at the level of performances. I was just looking at just get the points on the board, and we've done a good job. I think that's about as well as we could have done across those first 3 games. And then the transfer window's kind of mixed feelings, I guess, because the first few, like sort of the start of the transfer window in terms of pre-Club World Cup and sort of during Club World Cup, I was happy with it. We've done some good business. You got Delap in early doors. I think that made sense. A lot of clubs were after him. £30 million release clause. I've looked at that. Good signing. Obviously, we signed Joao Pedro partway through that tournament. I think that's comfortably our best signing of the summer.
That's your favourite?
Yeah, I think so. Comfortably our best signing. And then obviously, Joao comes in. You've ticked a box there that really needed filling, an alternative and competition for Correa and that left back slot. You've brought in someone who might only be 19, but who's already been a captain of Ajax. He's a full Dutch international, got loads of experience, over 100 appearances for that team. I know he's only featured sparingly in these first 3 games, but I think that's a brilliant signing. And then I guess post Club World Cup, I'll be honest, really since the Joao deal went through, I think the window has been a little bit disappointing in my personal opinion. Obviously, Garnacho's come in. We bought in Facundo Buonanotte on loan from Brighton, which was kind of a random one that no one saw coming. And then we didn't really add anything else. Obviously, we recalled Mark Guillu from Sunderland to cover the Delap injury. I just think it's important not to allow the way the window finished to cloud your judgment of it overall. But ultimately, for me, the way that it finished, I just feel like it ended in a bit of disappointment from my point of view, and kind of just left with that feeling of it's not bad, but we could have done more.
As Graham Potter would say, the boys gave everything.
I just feel like we've left ourselves short in a number of key areas again.
Yeah.
At the end of another window, and it's just kind of a little bit of a sense of deja vu and a little bit of a sense of disappointment. Maresca wanted another centre back. We didn't get him.
I'll be honest with you. I mean, we'll dive into the. I mean, why not? We can rate it now. Why not? I mean, I give the window all in all, mate. I give it a 7 out of 10. If we're going with round numbers, I give it a 7 out of 10. I think it was decent. I think it was good. I don't think it was great, but I think we did great things. But yeah, when you look at some of those missing pieces. They are big ones. And also, it's not just missing pieces, it's missed opportunities. But then I can counteract that with all the opportunities that we've managed to take advantage of. And there's plenty of them as well. Like, we've always been a club under Clearlake, especially since they've been running the show. It's all about opportunistic signings. No doubt that whenever there's a valuable signing on the market, Chelsea are in the running, and we missed out on some of them. I know Dean Huijsen was a player who I was a big fan of. That didn't go through. We'd be having a different conversation if he was a part of the squad. But then you've got Mike Maignan as well. You've got I'm trying to think who else.
Well, Xavi Simons.
Xavi Simons, yes. My
Cool.
God.
And then there was talks of Fermin Lopez, which never really materialized into anything. I guess, I don't know. I agree with you. I think a lot of good things have been done this window, 100%. There's no denying that. And ultimately, like, what you want to look for a transfer window is your squad better than how went from the window finishing to what you had at the start of the window. And I think we can definitely say the squad's improved in a number of key areas. I think we've got better options in attack. We've got better quality options in the attack. Midfield has been bolstered again. I know we didn't technically make any signings. Andre Santos came back.
I think it all counts, man.
Yeah, Andre Santos came back. You've obviously got Dario Asugu who arrived. So that's another 2 bodies in midfield. Gives us 5 great options in the centre of the park. So the depth there is brilliant. As I said, we've added Hato. Goalkeeping situation, the Mike Maignan thing just really frustrated me. That seems like a lifetime ago. Now, that was back at the start of June. The deal was there to be done. It was there to be done. And this is what frustrates me with certain things with Chelsea is no problem going and spending 30, 40, 50 million on someone if they're like 21, 22 or whatever. But when you've got an opportunity to sign someone for 20 million quid, that is an obvious, clear upgrade in the goalkeeping position. Top goalkeepers are few and far between. They're hard to find. And you refuse to spend 4, 5, 6 extra million to do that. That's where I'm like, how can you do so many good things, but then make such a glaringly obvious error in judgment with that? So, like, it's almost like you've got the good stuff, but then Chelsea almost like self-sabotage mode where, we can't do loads of things good. We've always got to just chuck in something and do something really bad. And that's what I felt like with the goalkeeping situation.
I mean, the Petrovic one really pissed me off because I thought, okay, fine, we're not going to get Maignan. I would happily take Maignan at Chelsea. I'm certainly not going to sit here and say I'd turn him down. But in the back of my head, I was like, no problem. We've got Petrovic. Obviously, he's going to be part of the squad. He was one of the best goalkeepers in Liga last season. One of the best goalkeepers in Europe, if you look at his stats, especially his distribution, which is something we've criticised so heavily with Robert Sanchez. And then you say, okay, we've turned down Mike Maignan, no problem. A couple of days later, Petrovic is leaving Chelsea because they will not guarantee him a starting place. I was thinking, what kind of nonsense is this? And he actually said, I don't want to be a part of this team. He's basically put in a transfer request at that point. And people say the player has too much of an ego. He shouldn't expect to start for Chelsea. I'm sorry. When you're competing against Robert Sanchez and Jorgensen, and you've had the season you've just had at Strasbourg, bearing in mind he was pretty good under Poch as well, considerably better than Robert Sanchez, I think you're absolutely entitled to expect to play the majority of games and be the number 1 goalkeeper.
I can see it from both points of view. Like, if you back yourself and you think you're that good, then go and prove it, and you should be the number 1 goalkeeper pretty quickly. But I also get it from his point of view. Like, the whole sort of premise of the model is that, if you go to Strasbourg and you do well, then you're given opportunities in the Chelsea first team. We've seen it with Santos. He's gone to Strasbourg, had a really good loan spell. He's back in the mix now, and he's integrated into the Chelsea squad and the Chelsea team. That's the whole point of it. You go to Strasbourg and you do really well. You get opportunities at Chelsea. Petrovic couldn't have really had any better of a season. Strasbourg Player of the Year, as you say, one of the best goalkeepers in Liga. His statistics,
unreal,
ranking up with the best goalkeepers in Europe's top 5 leagues last season. But I sort of always had a sneaky feeling that this guy was going to get sold.
Yeah, you kind of did have that feeling.
And yeah, okay, he's gone to Bournemouth. I don't know if he's done particularly well at Bournemouth so far, but it didn't surprise me whatsoever that he was sold. But I would have liked to have seen him given an opportunity. I understand him coming off that season. I think I think you can have the confidence or the arrogance or whatever you want to call it to say that. I've just had an unbelievable season. I think I'm better than Robert Sanchez comfortably, in my view. I should be the number one goalkeeper. But yeah, look,
Yeah.
it is what it is. The goalkeeper situation is a disappointment. Chelsea wanted a new goalkeeper. There's no point trying to lie about it. Chelsea absolutely wanted a new goalkeeper because we tried to sign Mike Maignan. So don't then try and say that he didn't want a new goalkeeper or the plan was always Robert Sanchez. It wasn't, because if Maignan was a bit cheaper, if Milan had accepted our offer, then Sanchez probably wouldn't be here. So
Yeah.
that's what I mean. We did want a new goalkeeper, but we, for whatever reason, Maignan was the opportunity. They didn't feel it was value for money. And then they obviously didn't feel there was any other goalkeeper on the market that was good value for money or was going to be better than what we've got. And we just have to hope that doesn't cost us over the course of this season at the end of the day.
I think that another factor is we just wouldn't have been able to sell Sanchez for
There's
the
also
same
that as well,
amount
yeah.
as Petrovic. And Sanchez, we actually paid more for him than Petrovic, so we would have been less profitable, even if we sold him for the same amount. In fact, I don't even know if we would have made any money on that transfer. Was it 25 million or 20 million? I can't remember.
I think Sanchez was like either, I think it was like 20 plus 5 and add-on, so
Right.
25 total package, I think.
Okay, so you wouldn't have made any money if you sold him for the same amount. Let's look at incomings, Charlie. Let's start there, and then we can look at sales. I think we can both agree we've made a lot of money there. I'm going to go player by player. You've probably noticed I've been on my phone, but I've just been trying to get all of the exact numbers, just so we don't get anything wrong. Let's start off with a player we spoke about earlier. Your favourite signing that Chelsea's made in this window, Joao Pedro, bought for 60 million from Brighton. Honestly, pretty underwhelming in my opinion when we were linked with him, considering he had 10 goals and 5 of them were penalties last season at Brighton. So I didn't really know what to expect. I also thought that we overpaid. I still think that we could have got him for less, if I'm totally honest. But what a revelation he has been, and that versatility, it's not a question. He can play as a 10, he can play as a striker as well. And he's been a revolutionary signing for us.
Yeah, it's been it couldn't have gone much better. He's scored like 5 goals in 7 games or something for Chelsea.
It's incredible. It's brilliant.
Which is great. Instant impact at the Club World Cup, straight from the beach to banging goals in. It's some story. Look, when we were first linked with him, I was a little bit similar to you. I was like, look, this guy's a good player, but I've not been sort of wowed by it. It wasn't like at Brighton he was doing anything when you were like sort of like, wow. Do you know, if you get what I'm saying? There were good moments there. Clearly a good player, but another one of those sort of versatile forwards where you're like, okay, this guy's got talent, this guy's got ability, but you weren't really entirely sure where he was going to fit in because he's not a 9 and he's one of them. It's like a 9.5 basically.
Yeah,
You're sort of thinking, well, what's the plan with this guy? Where does he sort of fit in? But those doubts sort of instantly eliminated, and we've seen him play as a 9 for us. Last couple of games, with Delap starting, he's played as a 10. He's done really well in the 10. He's just so much better than I actually thought he was. I knew he was a good player, but he's just so much better than I thought he was. He's good with the ball at his feet. He's great in the air in both boxes. He's scored 2 headers now in back-to-back games. Also scored a header against Leverkusen, or it might have been against AC Milan, sorry.
Yes.
In that pre-season game. He obviously scored against Leverkusen as well. Scored 3 goals at the Club World Cup. All different types of goals, 2 bangers, and then a nice little dink in the final against PSG. He's got like all sorts of finishes in his catalogue. And this guy he's basically, I know he's a little bit different to Nkunku, but he's basically, sort of in layman's terms, he's just a miles better version of Nkunku.
He's got that Brazilian flair as well and that energy. And I always think that Nkunku was a great player. I'm still a fan of Nkunku. Like I liked him at Chelsea. I think that this squad wasn't really built for
Pedro
him.
suits the system way better.
Yeah, I do think when you look at the pressing and the work rate and just the intensity, really, I think that it is a level above with João Pedro. I can't disagree on that. And he's got that Brazilian flair, mate. Like the passes, you wouldn't see Nkunku doing some of the passes that he has, that he's done. Just being able to open up teams in a way that you wouldn't associate with a striker. But there you go. He's not a number 9, like you said. He's a 9.5. So I think it's a massive thumbs up, mate. Very, very happy with that signing. And I think that he will be a regular throughout the whole season, unless, God forbid, touch wood, hopefully he doesn't get injured.
Yeah, he'll be starting. He'll be starting pretty much every week.
Every week.
I mean, we got different options now as well. You know, when Palmer comes back, do you stick Palmer on the right, stick with Pedro in the 10, with Delap as the 9, or do you put Pedro 9, Palmer 10, and you go Esteval and Neto or Garnacho?
I think we can play
like,
Palmer
the
on the
options
10,
you've got.
but only if we overlap. If
Yeah.
we don't overlap, I think that Maresca did try in the Club World Cup. It didn't work. And that's one thing I never thought about last season is if you don't have an overlapping fullback, Palmer, he needs a bit of help up there. He can't do it all on his own.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Though. If you play Palmer on the right, you need to have Gusto overlapping. Because Palmer won't play as an out and out on the right side. He'll drift in. Like we saw Esteval against West Ham. He started on the right, but he didn't really start as a right winger. He started as almost like a inside forward on the right hand side, and you obviously had Gusto overlapping. So if you're going to play a Palmer there, you're not going to play Palmer as a touchline winger. You'll have him as like a sort of inside forward on that right side. But that's only going to work if obviously Esteval if Gusto or Gusto probably not James, but if Gusto overlaps on that side, then that's going to work well. And we've seen that work well. We saw it in the Club World Cup. Gusto was outstanding in that game. The link up with him and Palmer works really well. But the thing is, we've got options in the attack now. We've got options, a lot of different combinations that we can have there. So I think that's a positive, really, in regards to Pedro and just the attack in general. I didn't really think. You think about it, mate. We've made a lot of changes in the attack. Jackson's gone. Madueke's gone. Joao Felix is gone. Nkunku's gone. So we've sold 4 attackers that were part of the first team squad. So those 4 have gone, and you've obviously Esteval's arrived. Jamie Gittens has arrived. Garnacho's arrived. Delap's arrived, and Joao Pedro's arrived. So we've sold 4 attackers and signed 5. I didn't think the attack was awful last season. There was definitely room for improvement. I didn't think it was awful, but 5 new attackers arriving.
I mean,
it's kind of mental.
I would say on paper, there's definitely an argument that there's players that were better last season. People have told me that, but I would still say that what we have this season is better than last season. 2 strikers that are a direct improvement on last season. A number 9.5 that's probably an upgrade on Nkunku, especially for this season.
Yeah.
I mean, undoubtedly based on his form now. Gittens for me is a question mark. Garnacho, I think, is value for money in terms of a fair deal. Don't think it's a great deal. Don't think it's a bad deal. I think it's fair. And then I look at Esteval and I see a direct upgrade on Madueke. So all in all, like I know people are upset about Xavi Simons, but it's like a Christmas wish list. You write everything down. Let's say you ask for 5, 6 things. Who gets everything on their Christmas wish list, Charlie? There's always going to be something that fans want, that fans think, oh, we could have done a little bit better. In every relationship, I don't know if you've been in a relationship, but whoever's watching this podcast, she might cook, she might clean, she might be great in the bedroom, but maybe she farts. I don't fucking know. Like, whatever it is, she might have a trait that you think, oh, I wish she didn't do that. But you've got to try and look at the positives in this situation. And that's why I give it a 7 out of 10, because it's not bad. It's really not bad.
No,
some people, Charlie, have said that Blueco and Clearlake are a disgrace. No. And I'm thinking, hang on a second. They were disgraceful in January when they took away Vega and Joao Felix and decided not to back Maresca and take the risk, the gamble that we would get Champions League football anyway. But this summer, I can categorically say that we look considerably better than we did a year ago.
Oh, this summer, the window this summer is miles better than what it was last 100%. Summer. Last summer was a really, really poor window. This window, I agree with you, mate. I don't understand how I'm seeing people saying it's like a 2, 3, 4 out of 10. I just don't get that. Whilst we're on forwards, I guess for the one thing for me is, mate, I still feel we're thin up front. I really do. Because we've already seen it now. Delap injured. He's really going to... We don't know how long he's missing. Maresca said initially...
It could be more than 8 weeks.
Yeah, Maresca initially after the game was saying maybe 6 to 8 weeks. And then there was reports that come out saying it's going to be a further scan in the next 48 hours. And that was, I think, on Sunday or Monday.
Yeah, it's never a good sign.
And he could be out for longer.
Yeah.
And so this is what I mean. When I've been saying all summer, you need 3 strikers in the squad, and people always go, oh yeah, but no teams have 3 strikers, blah, 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 all this. Oh, no one's going to want to be come and be third choice. It's almost like, well, hang on a second. It's not 3 players competing for one position, because one of our strikers also covers as a 10, right? So you've got, in our squad at the moment, I know Guillu's come back, we'll get onto that. We went into the season with 1 out-and-out number 9. and 2 players that can play centre forward to a decent ability. I just felt, we were one injury, and this is the problem. This is when it comes to the poor squad planning in certain areas. For me, in that centre forward position, poor squad planning, because to be one injury away from having a major problem highlights poor planning. What happens? Delap gets injured, and you're in a situation now where Joao Pedro is more pressure on Pedro now to play every game, and then your solution to that is, let's recall Mark Guillu, who wasn't fancied at all last season. He made 3 appearances in the league last season. Maresca didn't really rate him. He played Pedro Neto down the middle instead of him.
Was it 6 goals in?
He got 6 goals games? He got 6 goals in 7 Conference League games.
12 in total, wasn't it?
I can't remember exactly what it was in total.
Yeah.
And this is a guy that went on loan to Sunderland, right? He
scored in the
League Cup. Well. So not only that, so he's cup tied for the League Cup. So we can't use him in the League Cup.
Oh, we can't use him?
No, because he played in the League Cup for Sunderland in the second round. So we can't use him in the League Cup. Okay. But this is a guy that in the first 3 games for Sunderland played 13 minutes, 3 minutes in the Premier League for Sunderland in 3 games. And he's supposedly the answer or the solution to our problems.
Well, I just want to address that because it's a really good point you make. So I was looking into it yesterday, just from both sides to give people a bit of clarity as to why Chelsea might have done this. From Chelsea's perspective, obviously, we know Delap got injured. Then we had all the drama with Jackson, okay? So you know that you haven't got a striker in Delap. Jackson doesn't want to come back. He's sort of halfway to going to Bayern at this point. So Chelsea need to find a quick in-house solution. So,
I know what I've done.
So why, not for you necessarily, but just people watching. So why do they do it? Because he's 19 years old. He's registered as an under 21 in the squad. So he doesn't actually take one of our 25 slots in the team. And then from Sunderland's perspective, because I was thinking, Charlie, why have they accepted this? They're going to need all the help they can
went
get.
to sign someone else anyway.
Who did they sign?
They signed Brian Brobby from Ajax.
Oh, fair.
They wanted another centre forward, so I think they were quite happy to let Guillu go.
I didn't realise they signed someone else.
They signed someone else, yeah.
Well, there was a thing in Guillu's contract. Basically, he had to play a certain amount of minutes, otherwise Sunderland would be penalised. They'd have to pay a penalty.
Same as Broja at Fulham.
Oh, is it?
Whenever he went on loan there, but Fulham ended up paying us more money because he barely kicked a ball for him.
Fair. I didn't know that, to be fair. Actually, no, I did know that about Broja. But yeah, so they just wanted to get rid of that liability. So that's why it makes sense.
And you know what? Like, I fully understand why Chelsea have done it. And look, the UEFA stuff, the restrictions, I think people have now realised were putting us in a much more difficult position than people thought. However, we knew about these restrictions from the 4th of July. That is when those restrictions come in, July 4th. We knew it was coming. We broke the rules. So we've only got ourselves to blame in regards to being under those restrictions because we broke the obvious, the clear financial rules in regards to UEFA. So we're now in that settlement situation with them. But why didn't we plan accordingly? Is what I would like to know. Why didn't we plan accordingly? Because now you're in a situation where Jackson's gone, and any option that was going to come in was going to be worse. Whatever you think of Nicholas Jackson, right? He is better than Mark Guillu.
Correct.
Mark Guillu might go on to become a better player than Nicholas Jackson. He may well do. But right now, for me, it's not even a conversation. Nicholas Jackson is a much better footballer than Mark Guillu at this point in time. So any option that was going to come in was going to be worse. And I get it that Jackson didn't want to be here anymore. He communicated before the Leverkusen game that he wanted to leave the club. Chelsea obviously made it clear that he wasn't really going to play the minutes here. And then it's almost a little bit embarrassing how it's not the same as Chalobah because we didn't ban him from the facilities or try and force him out or anything like that. But it's almost like, well, you told me you didn't want me. You told me I should go and get another move. I said that I want to leave. And then you're in an embarrassing situation where you're almost begging for someone to come back. And I don't blame Jackson for wanting to go and for leaving or whatever. But let's be honest, we're in a worse position with him gone and Guillu in. That's the reality in terms of quality.
In terms of quality, correct. In terms of morale, I think Guillu is going to be a good player in the dressing room. I also think he's going to get more opportunities than people think.
Do you think he will though? Because
Yes.
Maresca had him last season and he preferred Pedro Neto over him. I'm still not convinced how much Guillu's actually going to play.
Well, I would suggest that Guillu would play more because we're going to be in more competitions as a start. We're going to have to rest Pedro Neto in more games because we won't have the two
But
11s
Guillu's
like
not going to play.
last year.
Guillu's not going to play League Cup. He can't play League Cup.
But
So forget him from
I'd
that.
play him in certain Champions League games
Yeah,
if I was
mate,
able to. Like I'd play him against Pavos.
Oh yeah, that's okay.
You know, if we'd already qualified through the league stage, I'd play him against Napoli. I'd play him in those games.
Yeah, sure. If you've already qualified or whatever, then that's a different thing. But what my whole point is that people's view on this window will drastically change. I'd like to see what people say if we see Mark Guillu and Facundo Buonanotte starting away at Bayern Munich, starting at home against Barcelona but do you know what I mean? Because that could happen, right?
It could happen.
And then I want to hear what people say, how people react to that. Because people saying, "Oh, it's great that Guillu's back," or "It's great," Facundo Buonanotte is a good signing. I want to hear what those people say if, as I said, we end up having to start those guys against a Bayern Munich, against the Barcelona. Then let's see if people keep that same energy about those signings.
I mean, I'd be more intrigued to see how they do in the Premier League because I actually think, to an extent, those particular players you mentioned might actually find it easier playing in Europe because against some of those teams, especially the Italians, for example, you get more time on the ball, etc.
Yeah.
But I don't know. We'll see.
But do you think we've left our? Do you agree with me? Do you think we're short up front?
Do I think we're vulnerable?
Because what happens if Pedro gets injured? We're finished.
But you could say that about any team.
No,
it's like saying what happens if Aguero and Gittens get injured.
I absolutely agree with you on that. But do you know what I mean? Like for me to be in a position where one injury has left us in the shit, really.
No, I think it's a fair point. I do think it's a fair point. Like again, that's why I'd say it was a decent window because it's definitely underwhelming to an extent, but there's a lot of positives that we can lean on. So we've spoken about Guillu, we've spoken about Joao Pedro. Obviously, Delap's injured now. I think in terms of value for money, it's probably the best signing out of the lot. We pulled Ipswich's pants down really, and if they could have, they would have sold him for 50 million.
Well, it was a release clause, relegation release clause.
Yeah, I mean,
but I agree. In this market, mate, if there's no release clause, that's 50 or 60 million.
100% in the modern day market. And if Chelsea didn't want to pay it, Man United would have. Tottenham were interested as well.
Newcastle looked at him. Loads of teams looked at him.
And he chose Chelsea's project, so fair play to him. But just imagine if we hadn't had any of this pull for certain players, we would have really struggled because. Yeah, I feel like even though there's a number of transfers, as we mentioned, that didn't work, we've had a lot that have gone our way. We put a lot of effort into Jamie Gittens, mate, around the Club World Cup. The first window we had, we didn't manage to secure
that first 10-day window. Yeah, we didn't get him.
We didn't get it done at that point. I think Dortmund were taking the piss. And
we ended up paying more afterwards.
It was a disgrace, to be honest with you, Charlie. He's not worth 55 million. He's not a better player than... I can't say he's a better player than Madueke. I think it's much for
maybe
muchness.
Not right now. Not right now. It's not.
Potential is definitely there. I do think that Madueke, for me, his time ran out at Chelsea. He wasn't showing enough progression.
And he was happy to go as well.
He was happy.
I think it was a deal that benefited all parties. We got a decent fee for him. £52 million all in. I think that's a deal that suited all parties, and I don't really have a huge issue with that deal, to be perfectly honest.
He hasn't got a goal or assist for Arsenal, has he?
No, not yet. No,
I saw him miss that penalty in pre-season.
Yeah, they missed the penalty in pre-season. But just like on the Jackson deal, by the way, obviously it's great money in terms of loan fee. Really like decent, like £14.5 million loan fee. My only issue is, and this might be being a little bit cynical, is that it only becomes an obligation if he plays a certain amount of games.
Well, that's the question. How many games?
I've not been able to find anywhere how many games it is, but it's not going to be something like 10 games. And it's an obligation. My fear is, and I wouldn't be sort of thinking, oh, he's definitely 100% gone. He's obviously going to be at Bayern this season, of course, but beyond this season, I wouldn't be 100% certain that obligation gets activated. It wouldn't surprise me, depending on the number of games, but it wouldn't surprise me if it started getting near that number that Bayern started not playing him.
I think that it's probably around the 40 game mark. And I'll be honest, I'm not particularly concerned because I do think that he'll play that many games. And that's because, to be honest with
Again,
you,
it depends how far they go in the
I think
competitions.
Kane's going to get injured at some point again. Like, they're over reliant on him. And he got injured last season as well, if I'm not wrong.
No, Jackson will play games, but my point is, I don't see him playing considerably more at Bayern Munich than he would have done at Chelsea. He might
This season, he would definitely play more at Bayern.
he might play a bit more, but
Oh, 100%. But he's gone from being third choice to second choice. Now,
but
it's not ideal. You obviously want to be number one, but let's look at Delap and Joao Pedro, for example. If they were both playing as strikers, we saw when Joao Pedro was starting, Delap was always coming on. That would have never happened if Jackson was at Chelsea. And at least at Bayern, you know that if Kane starts in a league game and nothing happens there, Jackson will probably start in the cup, or at least he'll get subbed on in games to make an impact.
Yeah,
I don't think he would have had that with us.
yeah, no, I hear what you're saying, but yeah, my main point is I would just be a little bit cautious about thinking this is 100% done deal, because it wouldn't be the first time that a club would, get close to having to either sign a player or certain appearances triggers a bonus payment. We've seen it loads of times before. Clubs will then suddenly not play a player if it's like one more appearance and they've got to pay £5 million to someone or whatever. What happens if he gets injured, in the season, and then he doesn't hit those appearances? Then what happens? These are all things. So whilst it is a very good deal, it's not a guaranteed obligation. And that for me, and whilst there's no guaranteed obligation, there's always a worry in the back of your mind that they may look to not finalise that deal.
What I will say is that, I mean, the source that reported it first, I think it was BILD, the German source. They were the ones that reported Kane's transfer first, apparently, in Germany. So they are apparently quite reliable. That's what I've heard. We just need to find out the number, mate, and then we can make our minds up. But I think
it'll be 30 or 40. It must be something like that.
Yes. I would say this, though, which is that if Jackson hits the ground running, I think we can all be very relaxed, because Bayern will then continue to put their faith in him. But if he has a slow start and then they have other options they can put in there as well, that's when you start to panic.
I can tell you one thing for sure. He's scoring against us in the Champions League. It's almost guaranteed, mate. You just know it.
I hope not. But, I mean, just to be fair, Charlie, I'll tell you this, mate. Slightly off topic. Last night, I spent about 3-4 hours.
I thought you were about to say you spent about 3 or 4 grand.
Oh, God, no. I probably spent like 900 quid last night booking all of the flights. So I've done...
What, Naples, Bergamo, and Munich?
And Karabakh.
You're going Karabakh?
I'm going Baku, mate. I'm flying into Hungary.
Yeah.
I've got 1 or 2 hours to get on the next flight.
Yeah.
It's very tight, but it was the cheapest option. They are cheeky, though. I tell you what, I got it for $250, and then obviously because it's 4 flights, I got it's not direct. They had 30 quid on each flight, so I can book a seat. I thought, you cheeky bastard.
No, but you don't have to book a seat. They just give you one.
Nah, mate. Honestly, I had to pay for it. It was like I couldn't get around it. Mate, it was a fucking joke. It should be illegal to do that.
Mate, I was thinking about maybe doing.
Mate, come to Baku.
Come to Baku.
Come to Baku. I'll sort you out.
Mate, if I get a ticket, I'll come to Baku.
Mate,
when is Baku?
We'll get you to Baku.
When is it?
November? October?
It's in November, October. Mate, I'll be there. Mate, you going Lincoln? Lincoln away in the cup?
Lincoln's gonna be tough. I'll be honest, mate. It's the ones with the capacity below 10,000 that I always struggle with. I couldn't get Luton when they were.
Mate, none of us went Luton.
Couldn't get Luton. Father.
Oh, he was the only one. He was the only one. None of us could get Luton.
So Luton is like, I'm planning on going, but I don't know if I can actually do it.
Have they released the date yet?
I'm not 100% sure, to be honest. I'm not sure. Carabagh's on the 5th of November. So get that booked in your diary, Charlie.
Mate, it might have to happen.
Are you getting a direct flight? Are you going to be a...
Yeah, I'm not going to be a baller.
No, you're not going to be a baller.
Well, it depends how much a direct flight is. I could ball it.
Probably like 500-600.
I know, fuck that. No,
I'm going for like 350.
Oh, mate, I'll do that then.
And that's...
There's loads of different routes, though. You can fly, you can do what you're doing. I think you can go to Istanbul as well.
Yeah. Bergamo's really cheap. That's like, I got 180 return.
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
Decent, mate, yeah.
Naples is about 2.
Munich, you could just fly to Stuttgart, get a train for an hour and a half.
Munich's tough. Munich,
mate, you should have gone to Stuttgart, mate.
Mate, I've honestly, mate.
Why didn't you fly to Stuttgart?
I'm going to Cologne
Cologne, yeah.
train. I'm going on the Eurostar, so I'm going to Brussels,
Yeah.
and then Cologne, and then this is on the train, so
Yeah.
I'm not flying. And then I'm getting a train from Cologne to Munich, and then I'm doing the same thing. My train home is 6 a.m. the day after the game.
Mate, you might as well just go straight to the train station.
Oh yeah. Well, if I can
Yeah.
get a hotel, if I can stay with someone, then I'll do
Mate,
that.
I wouldn't bother doing that.
Just do an all-nighter.
Just go straight to the train station, mate.
It's not going to be good if I wake up though and I'm in the wrong station in Germany.
No, but you just got to go straight there, mate. You just sit there.
But anyway,
yeah.
Let's get back on track. So Jamie Gittens, mate. Jamie Gittens for me.
It's been a slow
He's
start,
probably
hasn't it?
the
It's been a slow
most
start.
underwhelming signing that we've made. By the way, I was happy with Jamie Gittens as a signing, although I do think we overpaid.
I agree.
I do think he's just as raw as what we had, and I do think out of all of them, he's just unknown. Like nobody's telling me that when I was speaking, nobody's saying I'm unhappy with Gittens, but people are like, what am I supposed to think? I've barely seen him play.
Yeah.
But, he's obviously played in the Champions League at Dortmund. And he was really good up until the new manager came in.
Yeah, he was like, obviously, second half of last season, he was a bit more in and out the side, purely because, obviously, Kovac come in and the system changed slightly and he didn't really use him as much. Again, there's ability there, but we have to be honest, it's very early days. I'm not judging a player after 3 games, but if you're asking me based on from what I've seen in the 3 games, it's against Fulham. He came on. I think he barely touched the ball, so you can't really judge that performance because he played about 15 minutes or something, and he was hardly in the game. So there's nothing really to judge there. West Ham, he played about 10 minutes. You can't really judge anything there. The game against Crystal Palace, he started. He was particularly. I thought he wasn't very good, but he wasn't the only one. So yeah, if you're asking me from what I've seen in the first 3 games, no, it has been underwhelming. But this is a young player, and it's going to take time for him to find his feet. The ability's there, the potential's there. But I remember saying to you after I think the Palace game, like Garnacho will start a lot of games on the left-hand side,
100%,
because he's way more ready for Premier League football than Gittens is. And right now he's probably better
to say that.
I don't know. I agree with you. Right now he's better. He is better. Could Gittens be better than Garnacho? Sure, of course he could. But right now Garnacho is better than Gittens, and he's way more ready for Premier League football than Gittens is.
Mate, I'm not gonna get on this bandwagon yet because I know people are gonna be unhappy. But I think people need to put a lot more respect on Garnacho's name, and I'm talking football here, not mentality, because I appreciate. What he did was out of order to an extent at United, but he's got a point to prove, and that's why I feel like there can be a genuine affinity with Chelsea, a loyalty, something that we want to see from all players. But when you see players like Fofana, for example, when he left Leicester, like he forced his way out, it's not nice, is it? But you always think it could happen to us.
You understand why players do it, though.
I get it. I mean, the Fofana situation was a little bit different to Garnacho. He didn't fall out with the club, but yeah, that's in the back of your mind. What if a bigger club came calling? Not that there's many, but a Real Madrid or something like that. That's one concern that you have. But I mean, he signed a long deal. He signed a 7-year contract. A lot of people, Charlie, think we overpaid for Garnacho. We were sat here in the studio speaking. And I remember it was me, you, and Lewis. And Lewis obviously hates Garnacho more than life. And in January, we were linked with him. This is when Napoli had a bid rejected for about 50 mil, which was stupid. I don't know why they rejected that. And Lewis said to me, he was like, anyone but Garnacho, that would be the worst signing ever. And I said I was open to it for, under 30 million. And people laughed at me. They said, you'd never get that. And fair enough. In hindsight, we've obviously paid more. But when I look at what United fans are saying, because there's always 2 sides to every story, they feel like they've been mugged off.
Well, they have. If you look at the market, mate, Alanga cost 55 million. Pedro 55 million. Gittens 50 odd million. Madueke 52 million. Like Garnacho, again, 21 years of age.
He's got the most GA in Europe for an under 21. Apart from Joao over the past 2 seasons.
He ranks highly. And this is a guy that's played a decent chunk of Premier League games for United. I think he got 21 GA last season in all comps in a shocking Man United side. Mate, United got way less money than they should have done. If you think about it, Nottingham Forest paid 37.5 million for Amari Hutchinson from Ipswich. And if you've paid 2.5 million more for Garnacho, like, whether you like Garnacho or not, the way that the market is, we have signed that player for below market value. There's no doubt about it.
And the add-on and the sell-on clause as well is
So
it's
it's
almost
10%.
pointless. So if we sold him for 100 million, it would be worth 50 million as a package for Garnacho. We're obviously not going to sell him for that money. So the sell-on clause is pretty irrelevant.
But I think he'll be. I think he'll do better than a lot of people think. And now it's over to him. It's up to him to prove people wrong.
Is it a thumbs up from you, that signing? Because I like Garnacho. I think it's a good signing, mate.
I think it's okay. I'm not going to sit here.
A bit like Gittens then.
I'm not going to sit here and say I'm delighted with it because I'm not delighted with it. But it's a fair deal. I think it's a decent deal. And now it's up to him to go and show what he can do and prove the doubters wrong. You know, fresh start. And I think there's definitely something to be said for getting out of that environment at Man United. And let's really see what he can do. But we know Maresca won't take any shit from him. And if he's not performing, he simply won't play. So the ball's over in his court now. It's time for him to prove the people wrong.
The ball is in his court. Listen, we're going to try and speed through some of the incomings as well because I want to talk about player sales as well. I think we can. There's not really much to say about Sugo because we haven't seen him playing an awful lot of minutes. But it's cover for Caicedo.
Extra body.
Would you say it's an upgrade on what we had? I mean,
we didn't really have any cover for Caicedo, so yeah, it is.
I suppose he's available, unlike Lavia.
Yeah, we didn't really have an alternative to Caicedo, really. So yeah, Sugu fits that mold. Yeah, you've now got extra bodies in midfield, and that's not a bad thing at all.
And he was 18 million quid, which pretty solid in the modern
yeah.
market, mate.
Yeah.
Thing is, when you're paying for young players as potential, so it's hit and miss, but it's going to be easy to flip a player like that.
Oh, if it doesn't work out, for more than 18 anyway. Yeah.
Look at Guillu and Broha. Yeah. Jesus Christ, 20 million, 40 million as a package from.
Well, I think he got 45 million. Yeah,
it's a joke, mate. I was desperate to speak to some Burnley fans. I didn't manage to get any on the channel, but I was like, what do you see?
Ugo Chukwu is actually, I think Ugo Chukwu was a good player.
He had a good game at Man United when they lost 3-2.
25 million, I don't think is bad.
Yeah.
It's the 20 mil for Broyo, which I found just mental.
I mean, that's pure profit as well.
Yeah.
We are laughing. So again, like when we speak about all the business, you can say, well, it's underwhelming what we brought in, but we're in a very healthy position now where we've been able to get rid of a number of players. Sterling.
I could have told. I knew from day one, this guy was not. We weren't going to sell this.
We spoke about it last night, didn't we?
We were going to sell this guy. It was so obvious. You know, how hard do you really think him and his people tried to get a move? I don't think they tried that hard. And this for me, right? When people moan about the wage, we've all moaned about the wage structure, by the way. But this is exactly why there's a wage structure, so you do not get stuck in positions like this.
Yes. Well, that was Bowley's. Was that Bowley's first?
That was the first window, and Sterling was like, obviously Bowley was interim. He was acting as sporting director.
Yeah, he was balling out.
We were spending a decent chunk of money. Tuchel, by the way, really wanted Sterling. Like he was a big advocate for that signing.
In fairness to Tuchel, I will say this, Charlie. Tuchel actually got some good games out of Sterling when he was there before he got sacked.
Yeah, no, it wasn't terrible. But
I mean, the football was worse to watch, but Sterling was scoring.
Sterling was the one that was kind of contributing in that team, and I mean the team was terrible. But in that season that ended up being Potter and then Lampard, he was a. I mean, the bar was low, but he was one of the better performers. But yeah, this is a prime example of why you do not give players what they want because you get stuck with them and you cannot get rid of them. And yeah, I mean, there's stuff coming out now that Sterling's just going to train on his own and wait until January. He's got no interest in going to Saudi Arabia, Turkey, or the MLS. It's like there's nothing we can do.
Would you train on your own for 350k a week?
325. Of course you would, mate. Of course you would. But,
absolutely.
I mean, if I was Chelsea, mate, I'd explore terminating his contract. I really would. I know that would probably cost you a load of money. Maybe you try and come to.
Did you save any money from?
I wonder whether you come to an agreement. He's got 2 years left on his deal. We'll pay you off 1 year of your deal, and let's terminate the other year.
And then you can just sign for another.
And then he's just a free agent and just get rid of him.
That's fair. Fair.
Surely we need to be exploring that now, because what happens how do we know in January he's going to get a move? He's going to have played zero football for 4 months.
We thought he was going to go to Fulham, and then Fulham signed like 3 players.
Tyreek George didn't go in the end.
22 million, that fell through.
Fell through.
But then I thought instead of Sterling, at least they've got George. Maybe if they hadn't have got him, Sterling could have gone.
But the only reason that George fell through was because Harry Wilson's move to Leeds didn't happen. So that's why.
Was that permanent?
Yeah, so Harry Wilson was going to join Leeds,
Right.
and then that was going to create the space in the squad for George, and then Wilson's move to Leeds didn't happen in the end, and so the George deal collapsed.
I have to say, mate, I feel for George. George has been embarrassed. I mean, you talk about Guillu in that situation. I mean, at least Guillu's coming back to a top club who at least feel like they need him.
George's not going to play.
George is getting subbed off after getting subbed on.
I mean,
So,
yeah, I mean,
it doesn't get any worse than that.
George wasn't good against Fulham. We know that he's not a centre forward. And we've got to be perfectly honest here. The guy's barely going to play.
I mean, he's not good enough. That's the truth.
Well, yeah, I agree. But he's just not going to play. So this doesn't work. It's not Chelsea's fault, by the way. It's not George's fault. This is purely on the Fulham side of things, where a player didn't leave to create the space in the squad. It's just one of those unfortunate situations. But Tariq George leaving, thinking, I'm going to be playing sort of like fairly regular Premier League football, to now coming back to Chelsea, where at best he might come off the bench every couple of weeks.
Maybe he'll get a loan move. Turkey or
I mean, but it's been said that he's going to be he's back now. And he's going to be part of the squad for the Champions League and whatnot. So I mean, I don't see us loaning him to Turkey or Saudi Arabia or anything like that. So yeah, it's just one of those unfortunate situations. But I mean, who else? Oh, Hato came in. I mean, solid signing.
Fucking brilliant business. You know, Ajax trimmed 10 million off of that deal because they were so scared that if Chelsea pulled out, they wouldn't be able to get any of the money. Obviously,
because they're in a different financial situation.
Totally dire.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we haven't seen him play as a centre back. That's the one thing I would love to see with.
I don't think we're going to use him as centre back.
I don't think so either. Also, when I saw him in pre-season against Milan, he's quite small. He's not actually that tall. So when you consider like him instead of tossing, it's quite a contradiction.
Oh no, he's definitely a much better left back. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for Cucurella, I don't think the cover's going to get much better.
And I think that was a good deal, but that's pretty much it. I mean, yeah, obviously we brought in Buonanotte on loan. Absolutely no idea how often he's going to play. But yeah, that was that's it really.
There's more, Charlie. There's more.
What Buonanotte? No,
Are you talking about incomings?
Yeah.
No, we've got more, mate. We've got more. Well, I suppose it depends if you want to include players we've signed before. So you've got Santos.
Oh yeah, they were already. I don't really count.
That's the Val, mate.
I don't count that for this summer.
I count that. I absolutely count.
No, you can count it, but I'm not counting that as
a
summer signing.
Now, for me, it's not about when you put the work in the gym. It's about when you enter the competition and you lift your muscles up. So if it took you a year, if it took you 6 months. You see the results in front of you. So I think that we need to give credit to, the director getting a lot of flack at the moment. And I've never been a massive critic of the board and, Win Stanley Stewart. That's never really been my target because I believe that they are given the parameters to work with that the ownership allow them, the ownership allow them to either do something or not. And I think that with what they've been given, there's been more good that has come out of it long term than bad. We're ultimately Chelsea moving up, not down. So how can I criticise our recruitment when it looks like we're improving? But at the same time, again, you look at the Xavi Simons deal and you go, why did you prioritise Garnacho over Xavi Simons?
I agree.
I would probably say it's because his wage is 50%. And you save about 15 million on the transfer fees.
So, I also think Spurs are paying him like 200 grand a week.
200k, yeah. So I mean, Chelsea could probably offer that with Champions League football, but that would make him a higher earner than Cole Palmer, if I'm not wrong.
Well, it depends on the boat.
Palmer's on 130 before Champions League, and then he gets about a 20%.
I mean, Simmons would have got less. Simmons would have got less money, obviously, at Chelsea. As a base, he would have got less money.
Well, he's not valued at Chelsea as much as Spurs. That he's going to get gained.
Yeah, I mean, that whole debacle was so weird because basically for 5 weeks we were led to believe that, we were signing him. He was waiting for Chelsea. He turned down other clubs. We just need to sell in Kunku. Then we just need to get rid of Jackson. All that happens, and then we never make a bid for him. The whole thing was just very strange.
When we were wrapping up deadline day yesterday as well, I was so happy for Ben Chilwell. I was like, fair play. I know it's not ideal. Probably didn't want to go to Strasbourg as a first choice.
Just to go and play,
mate. You're going to a new country, a new culture, a totally different...
New league, European football as well.
It's good.
Good, exciting team, exciting project. Mate, I respect Chilwell, like what he's done for the club has been great. And the way that he's conducted himself in a really difficult situation for him uh, is a credit to him. You know, a lot of players could learn from that. And yeah, mate, I hope he does well at Strasbourg. I hope he plays. I hope he rediscovers his love for the game, gets regular minutes under his belt, and yeah, I wish him all the best.
What do you have to use in order to watch the French league these days?
Mate,
What's
you
the
can
app?
do it. You can do a subscription service.
Is it Apple TV?
No, mate. You can get a Liga pass. So if you just Google it, and you pay like $6.99 a month.
Do I really want to do that?
Well, you could pay for a month and then cancel it.
Maybe I want to watch Strasbourg more this year because I didn't watch them last year, mate. So I do want
Yeah,
to
you
watch
could pay
them.
the Liga pass, mate. You could do it for a month and then
Maybe I'll
and
do
then-
that, and I can
then
tune
just-
into like some
then
of the
you
games
just-
if I
yeah, you
fancy it.
just
But I
cancel
feel
it.
like doing a bit of Strasbourg
Well, Strasbourg
scouting this season.
Strasbourg playing Crystal Palace in the Conference League.
When are they playing that game? Is that the first game?
No, it's a league. I don't know what. I
It's
don't
one
know.
of them.
It's one of the 6 games in the league phase. Yeah.
Fair.
So that'll be on TV anyway. That'll be on like TNT or something.
I definitely need to watch more Strasbourg games. I'm putting that on my list. 100%. I need to do that. Another player I'm happy for is Dewsbury Hall, mate. Like,
Mate, he's
Everton
mate,
now,
he's way
he's
better.
slotted in.
But mate, he was so much better than what anyone actually gave him credit for. Obviously, compared to Chelsea, the players at Chelsea, yeah, of course, he wasn't really of the level. But I always really liked him. He conducted himself well, never moaned about anything. Ultimate professional, made the most of his opportunities when he played. Was a really important squad player towards the back end of last season and through the Club World Cup. And now he's at Everton. He's playing really well, goal scoring threat, getting assists. I couldn't be more happy for him, mate.
Mate, David Moyes has this thing getting the best out of English players that
And
just
now-
seem to be
Yeah,
on. I don't want to say on the decline. What's the word, John? What's the word I'm looking
sort of not flavour of the
Yeah,
not
flavour of the month.
fancied really.
Yeah, but then mate, it's
Mate, him and
fucking
Dewsbury
brilliant.
Hall and Grealish, I think
Oh.
is going to be unreal.
I stuck better on my fantasy as well. He got a goal against
Yeah,
Wolves.
mate,
like,
Grealish 4 assists in 2 games as well.
unbelievable. What was it that Haaland said?
Jack De Bruyne.
Jack De Bruyne.
Yeah,
I like De Bruyne, mate. Grealish.
I like
I
Grealish
would
as
have
well.
taken him under Poch, but I wouldn't have him in Maresca's system. You'd have the same problem.
Yeah.
So he
But
doesn't.
yeah, no,
really fit.
Dewsbury Hall's doing great. I mean, and also as well, we have made I think over £300 million in player sales, and that's fantastic. And we always,
It's a record, mate.
yeah, and we always sell really well. But I would also caveat that with it also maybe highlights a lot of mistakes in terms of we've just signed a load of dross players, and then we've had to get rid of them.
Yeah.
It works
true.
both ways.
But you know what, Charlie, mate? That's when you look at the sanctions that we've had with UEFA. Obviously, they fined us 26 million, and they've sort of said you've got to have a one in, one out policy for players to be registered for UEFA competitions. One thing you can say about Chelsea is that's what it's cost us in terms of a fine, 26 million. But the amount of leeway that we had when we were using all those loopholes, spending all that money, and basically pulling every trick out of the hat that nobody else had thought of at the time. And we're now in a much more comfortable position because of it. Now, are we ever going to be able to do that again? Probably not.
No.
Well, definitely not, because the rules are changing. But I would say that in terms of, again, like, it sounds boring, mate. 12th, 6th, 4th. The next step is
Top
competing
3.
for the title.
We've got to finish top 3 this season, competing for the title.
You've got to
yeah.
compete for the title, and then you've got to win the title. So if that trajectory continues, I think everyone just has to take
But
their hat off to
it
Chelsea.
gets harder though.
It does, mate. And I saw Liverpool with.
I mean, it's easy to go from 12th to 6th and then 6th into the top 4.
Yeah.
That next step is going to be much harder. I still.
Isak to Liverpool basically wraps up
I mean,
the league as well.
the league's a wrap in terms of the title. I feel, but mate, I think I fancy us to finish top 3. I said we finish top 3 at the start of the season, and I'm not changing my mind after 3 games. But yeah, the next step, the last step in terms of competing and winning the title, that's always the toughest step to take.
Renato Vega, he's another one we didn't talk about.
Sold him, yeah.
He Atletico offered us more money, but in the end we went for that deal fell through because I think Chelsea got a bit greedy.
They ended up signing some David Hanko from Feyenoord instead, and then he went to Villarreal. I'm a bit surprised that someone maybe a bit better didn't come.
Well, it's a 40% sell-on clause, isn't it? And
Massive
Vega
sell-on
knows that
clause,
he's
yeah.
going to be playing Champions League football, and he's going to have a guaranteed starting place. And one of the beauties of going to a club like Villarreal as well, Charlie, is that Yeah, he will get his move if he
Mate,
performs.
he's
He'll get sold.
he's club record signing for them.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
and he's very profitable, even with the 40% selling clause,
Yeah,
mate. I mean,
mate, he's only
that's
mate,
fucking
and he's only
brilliant.
21 as well. He could spend 3 years there until he's 24 and still go and get, you know, a great move.
Well, we're definitely getting the Portuguese squad now. There's not going to be
Yeah.
any complaints there. I think the positional aspect as well. Obviously, we didn't want to play him as a centre back, but how things could have changed as soon as
Mm.
Colwell got injured. If he hadn't have left in January,
If he'd been
he would have slotted in there
it's all
nicely.
lives and buts, isn't it? If he'd been a
It
bit
is.
more, if he's been a bit more patient, yeah, absolutely. But it obviously didn't work out that way.
I appreciate footballers want to get game time and they want to play, but when you look at players like Dewsbury Hall, like Chalobah, in the end, just sticking to it and being loyal to, your club, especially if it's a good club. I mean, there's a difference between being loyal to, all due respect, to mid-table team and a Chelsea or a Liverpool, whoever it is, and then finally breaking through as opposed to jumping around until something finally sticks. And that's where, you look at Joao Felix, for example, and I just think, I don't even know how he got that move to Saudi, but
Mate,
at least we got our money back.
Scored a hat-trick on his debut.
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh, you love the Saudi league, don't you?
Mate, scored a hat-trick on his debut.
Go on, tell people what they want to know about.
Oh, there's not really. There's only been one game.
No. Tell them about what you're going to be doing.
Oh, I might start a Saudi channel. Yeah, potentially.
Mate, love it.
Yeah,
Absolutely
I do enjoy it. I do enjoy it. But yeah, mate, Felix hat-trick on his debut there, but to be expected. Of
What are
course.
you going to call the channel?
I don't know. Yeah, I haven't. People can let me know in the comments for a name. Yeah.
What should Charlie call his? Is it just covering the
No,
Saudi
just
Pro
be
League?
like the league. Yeah, mainly the main teams. To be honest, yeah, the lower teams aren't great.
You're
I mean, no
not
one's
going
really.
to cover the low.
No. But yeah, no, Felix obviously, yeah, he got again. That I think that was a decent deal for us in the end. I think that's the best we could have done in terms of him and Kunku going to AC Milan. Really good deal. We got decent money for him. Chukwuemeka to Dortmund. We finally got them to pay up.
Yes, and we got the sell-on clause as well.
Yeah, we pretty much got sell-on clauses in virtually all the sales we made. Pretty much, I think.
And we were going to get more money from Mark Gurhey, but that deal fell through. We would have got either 3.5 or 7
It was like
million.
20. I think we had a 20% sell-on clause of the profit, so it wouldn't have been. It would have
been around 5
It would have
million.
been about 4 or 5 million or something like that. Yeah.
Depends if it was profit or just the value of the
Yeah.
transfer. I don't think anyone actually knew. I mean, I don't know. So let's
Yeah.
get in the comments. But yeah, mate, I mean, I'm feeling good. Bashir Humphries, £12 million profit to Burnley.
Well, that was a low. I think we loaned him last season. And it was
Yes,
I think it was,
that's
it was an obligation if they got promoted or something. So yeah.
All in all, mate, I have to say, I mean, Disassi, we didn't get rid of him.
Didn't get rid of. Well, there's still opportunities to get rid of him.
Yeah, so he could potentially go. Have we missed anyone else?
But the only one we didn't get rid of.
Mamadou Sarr went to Strasbourg.
The only ones we didn't get rid of, mate, was Sterling and Disassi.
Yeah.
I mean, Datro Fofana's still there as well. His loan move to Charlton fell through at the end. So
someone said to me yesterday, why doesn't David Fofana come to Chelsea instead of Mark Guillu? And then I thought, let me have a look at his past few seasons.
He's barely played.
It's been crap.
Yeah, it's not been good, mate. No.
It's been poor. I don't know if you've watched that documentary, the Burnley one. Have you seen the one when Vincent Kompany was there? There was a video of David Datro Fofana, like he used to just walk off, didn't clap the fans, never.
Mate, he's only 22.
I don't think he's got a great attitude, mate. I mean, that documentary was quite an eye opener. Like I quite like those sort of insights. They've got the Birmingham one as well with Tom Brady.
There's loads of them. There's been Sunderland, Birmingham, Wrexham. There's loads of them. Yeah.
Are they still doing the Sunderland one, or is that over?
Well, I don't know. They've done a new one, but they obviously had done something.
If they've kept doing that, then I mean that would have been incredible,
yeah.
That story. But yeah, mate. Overall, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good about Chelsea's transfers. I'm feeling like more ticks than crosses ultimately, and that's all I can ask for, mate.
Yeah.
This is a season where the number one word that needs to be repeated is progress.
You've got to make progress,
and that is part of the process. So when we say trust the process, we could have said that under Poch. We could have said that last season. It is trust the progress now.
We've got to make progress.
Trust the results. And as long as we make some strides, even, by the way, Charlie, even if we would finish in a similar league position, fourth, and we were to do better in the Champions League and hopefully domestic
win a cup,
that would still be progress.
Yeah, it would be progress, yeah.
You want to see, this is where we go back to the transfers. People want to see bigger steps rather than smaller steps.
Yeah,
and
but the steps are going to be smaller the closer to the top you get. It's going to be harder to make those bigger steps of progress. But as long as we keep going in the right direction, that's the most important thing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm feeling confident all in all. I think we'll finish third. What was your prediction?
Well, I predicted third as well.
Yeah. How many points? 79 for me.
I don't know.
No?
Just get more points than last season.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
And out of all of the signings, who do you think is going to be our best performer this
I'll
season?
probably be Joao Pedro.
Who do you think is going to be our worst?
Worst? Or out of the signings?
Yeah.
Probably someone like Buonanotte, just because I don't think he's going to play very much, purely based on that.
Fair. I'm going to go Gittens, to be honest with you.
Fair.
I just think that for the price, you're not getting enough short term. But I think long term we could see something there. And then I think our best, I think one of our, I'm really intrigued in terms of value for money, mate. I think Hato's a great one. I'm really looking forward to seeing Hato. But I like Joao Pedro, obviously. I like Delap. We'll see what happens when he becomes fit as well. Listen, big up to everyone watching. Really appreciate your time. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If you want to buy some of the new Chelsea merchandise as well, there is a link in the description. So go and check that out. And all the best, guys.